On CTV News, the University of Maryland hosts a vigil on the anniversary of the Israel-Hamas war. Plus,
the grand opening of the Tyak Elementary School STEM Center is finally here. I'm Bryce Parker. We'll have more coming up on CTV News.
And the County Council sheds light on domestic violence with a roundtable discussion. These stories and more on CTV News, starting now.
Good evening, this is CTV News for October 8th. I'm Michaela Newton.
And I'm Mariah Jalad. Thanks for joining us. Hundreds gather for a vigil on the campus of the University of Maryland last night. The interfaith event held on McKeldin Mall marked the one-year anniversary of the Hamas attack on Israel that killed 1,200 Israelis and the start of the Israel-Hamas war, which has killed more than 40,000 Palestinians. The event, which was held by the Students for Justice in Palestine, was originally restricted from taking place on October 7th by the university. However, the student-led group ultimately filed a lawsuit, and a federal judge intervened, which allowed the group to have the vigil.
The next time you see hundreds murdered in Lebanon or children killed by an airstrike in Gaza, don't think, oh, that's unfortunate, but it's just the Middle East. Unfortunate is not the word you use when children are being blown to bits. Unfortunate is not the word you use when thousands have been murdered and entire civilian structures have been collapsed and reduced to rubble.
Despite the controversy surrounding the vigil.
Despite the controversy surrounding the vigil and the increase in police and security on campus, the event was held peacefully.
And U.S. Senate candidate Angela Alsobrooks is facing a significant $47,580 tax bill after being found ineligible for property tax credits. Now, the Baltimore Sun reports that D.C. officials issued the bill reflecting unpaid taxes and interest over her 15 years of home ownership in Northeast Washington. In response, a senior advisor stated that Alsobrooks is taking immediate action to repay the amount in full.
Well, weeks ahead of a consequential election and months before a 2025 legislative session in Maryland, a new poll shows where Marylanders stand on major state political figures and parties. The Institute of Politics at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County asked 1,000 Marylanders how they feel about Governor Wes Moore's performance on the job. The majority say they approve, with 54% giving him a positive review and just 32% saying they disapprove. 52% of Marylanders say they have a favorable opinion of the Democratic Party, while only 37% said the same about the GOP.
Well, as homecoming season kicks off in Maryland, excitement is met with heightened concerns over campus safety following on-campus shootings. Now, several universities are emphasizing stricter security measures for this year's celebrations. Last year, homecoming festivities turned tragic when 5 people were shot at Morgan State University, leading to a postponed football game. Just days later, 2 men were shot at Bowie State University during homecoming. Now, to enhance safety, Morgan State is implementing new measures including drones, license plate readers, and expanded surveillance cameras.
Meantime, Prince George's police are investigating a fatal single-car collision in Accokeek early Monday morning. Officers arrived at the 1100 block of Bryan Point Road at 3:30. The driver of the vehicle was traveling westbound when they lost control and struck a tree. The passenger, 20-year-old Cadence Cox, died on the scene. The driver was taken to the hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. The reason why the driver lost control is still under investigation.
And police are also investigating a fatal crash involving a motorcycle over the weekend. The officers arrived in the area of Pennsylvania Avenue and Donnell Drive on Saturday, responding to a report of a sedan colliding with a motorcycle. The motorcyclist, 40-year-old Samuel Hinton, was pronounced dead on the scene. The driver of the sedan wasn't injured but remained on the scene. Now, anybody with information on either of these cases is urged to call 301-731-4422. And a state-of-the-art STEM center comes to a Prince George's County elementary school.
That's right. CTV's Bryce Parker was at Tyak Elementary School for the ribbon cutting.
It's a good day to be a great day.
It's a great day to be a Tyak Elementary School Eagle, as the Cal Ripken Senior Foundation, in partnership with Exelon, have finally opened up the Tyak STEM Center.
The partnership between Exelon and the Cal Ripken Foundation is all about immersion in STEM. And when you think about all these children here, this exposure is what's really going to open their minds and their hearts to the technology, and then they can go on to do really big things.
This moment marks not just an opening of a STEM lab, but it marks the transformation of our journey for our students, our parents, and our entire community.
The excitement surrounding the ribbon-cutting ceremony is just part of the Ripken Foundation's $3 million project that will bring 81 STEM centers to schools nationwide. And even the students are pumped up for the opportunity.
I love science, technology, and I love math and engineering, and I wish that I could use technology a lot more in the future. So my excitement is so much better than Dr. Wright.
Minorities make up less than a quarter of the STEM workforce, so bringing a program like this to Tyak is a bridge for students to be accepted to middle and high school STEM programs while also pushing them to dream big.
Yeah, you can't be what you can't see. So the first thing is to be able to see it, to be able to touch it, and now the mind starts to have a vision of something to do.
With today's grand opening at Tyak Elementary School, Tyak now joins the other 560 other STEM programs that allow children access to state-of-the-art technology and hands-on experience in STEM. Reporting from Fort Washington, I'm Bryce Parker, CTV News.
Love seeing students excited about something like that. Bryce, thanks so much. Well, Superintendent Millard House II was in attendance for the ribbon cutting. And Hurricane Milton has rapidly intensified to a Category 5 storm, according to the National Hurricane Center. Now, what you're seeing right now is Hurricane Helene, a devastating hurricane that caused widespread destruction and fatalities across the southeast in late September. Now, Hurricane Milton is barreling toward Florida, bringing a rising threat of life-threatening storm surge and damaging winds. Heavy winds and rain are expected ahead of its landfall, projected between Wednesday afternoon and overnight Thursday. Fortunately, though, current forecasts show Maryland will remain unaffected by the storm's impact. Hey, you're watching CTV News. I'm Michaela Newton.
And I'm Mariah Gillette. Still to come, Maryland lawmakers gathered today in the county to distribute federal funding.
Don't go anywhere. We'll have that story and more after the break.
Okay, Dad, look at you.
I look nice, don't I?
I see you.
Yeah.
Adding your own flavor to fashion comes with age.
Oh, man, that's the best one yet.
Forgetting how to add doesn't. Finding it difficult to work with numbers may be a sign of Alzheimer's.
Dad, are you okay?
An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one.
High school.
Hey, Dad. Do you want to talk about what happened earlier?
Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's. Some things come with age. Some others don't.
Love is a lesson that doesn't end. It knows no conditions, so you better buckle in. Love keeps you on your toes. It never stops, only grows. Love isn't easy, it's a commitment, especially when they're being their most resistant. Love is finding the right seat so you can take a breath. But remember, love isn't lax, it always double checks. Check that your kids are in the right seat at NHTSA.gov/the right seat.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. Innovating to prepare students for our fast-changing world. They're skilled experts, discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, leading by example. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org.
Welcome back. A federal jury convicts a D.C. man on firearms and drug charges. 40-year-old Timothy Proctor was found guilty of being a felon in possession of a firearm and of possession of fentanyl with intent to distribute. Proctor was arrested in Temple Hills in July of 2021 when police found him unresponsive in the driver's seat of a car. Police discovered 10 grams of fentanyl and a loaded .40 caliber handgun in his possession. Proctor was already a convicted felon at the time and was prohibited from possessing a firearm. He faces up to 30 years behind bars.
Meanwhile, a Brandywine man faces 27 charges for stalking, distributing revenge porn, and shooting into his ex-girlfriend's home. The suspect is 31-year-old Navari Mills. Court documents say Mills began dating the alleged victim back in December of 2022 and physically abused her. After she broke up with him, Mills called her repeatedly and stalked her by showing up to her job and home unannounced. Mills even sent sexually explicit photos and videos of the victim to her mother. Now, the suspect's behavior escalated with him allegedly shooting into the victim's bedroom on 3 separate occasions. Mills has been detained since February.
And County Council member Calvin Hawkins launches a new domestic violence roundtable, calling for all hands on deck from different organizations around the county. Now, the roundtable is made up of representatives from government organizations and nonprofits that provide support for survivors of domestic violence situations. The group will meet monthly to have discussions on how to change policies and programs regarding domestic violence in the county.
I thought it was very important with the increase in domestic violence, not just here in Prince George's County, the region, our state and country. It's important that we come out of the shadow and the darkness of silence and really begin to have open and honest conversations, not only among our adult and the agency reps, but also get our kids to start engaging in the conversation so we can understand how this trauma is impacting them, not just as young people, how it impacts them as they go on throughout their life.
The proclamation is not just about us. It's about every single person, every victim who didn't make it. It's about all of the survivors who broke the chains of abuse and decided and were able to get away. It's for all of those advocates who day to day, they grind, they make that effort to make a difference in somebody's life. It's important that we make sure that this doesn't remain in silence.
And the launch of the roundtable coincides with Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Now, with the arrival of October, hundreds of new laws have gone into effect in Maryland. Among them, laws that increase the monthly SNAP benefits for eligible recipients. Another law, a crime-fighting measure, expands the consequences for young offenders. Another would alter the regulatory requirements for the marketing and sale of electricity and gas in Maryland. That measure has already been challenged in court. There's also a new law that allows state employees in supervisory roles to unionize.
TSA intercepted 5,028 firearms at airport security checkpoints across the nation during the first 9 months of the year. The rate of firearms discovered between July and September was 7.5 weapons per 1 million passengers. This is a decrease from the same time period last year, with just over 8 weapons. Officers screened more than 678 million passengers in the first 3 quarters of the year, showing a 6.3% increase from last year. Remember, if you're traveling with a firearm, secure it in a checked bag, pack it unloaded in a hard-sided case, and declare it to the airline.
Well, the city of Laurel scores some big bucks from the federal government to help with an environmental restoration project. The city received $850,000 in federal funding to help with protecting and fixing the historic dam ruins at Laurel's Riverfront Park. Now, the check was presented to the city by U.S. Senators Ben Cardin, Chris Van Hollen, and Congressman Glenn Ivey. The project will include renovating the observation deck, improving drainage, and new signs near the dam.
So we set priorities. We work together as a team, Team Maryland. I work very closely with Senator Van Hollen and Congressman Ivey. And this was a priority for the community. So we went to bat for the community. We said we're going to do everything we can to help you. Now it's competitive. We thought this project made sense, and we were able to secure a significant amount of money that will allow this to become a reality.
Because people may say, why is this so important? And the reason it's important is it is a central part of the story of the city of Laurel, a city that was, powered, had a dam to take the power of the Patuxent and channel that into the power of the mill, which was the economic engine of Laurel.
Ultimately, the three lawmakers were able to get about $1.8 million in federal money for three different projects across Prince George's and Montgomery counties. And still to come on CTV News, it's Prime Day.
That's right. Find out what the retailer has in store this round of deals. Back in a moment.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Can you see anything different as a pill?
No.
You don't know?
Fentanyl is being mixed into everything now. There's only one thing that will save somebody's life. That is naloxone nasal spray.
Fentanyl, it's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
Why would drug dealers put a lethal dose of fentanyl in drugs if they know it's so harmful?
Really just all about the money.
I just didn't realize that one pill could change your whole life.
More kids should know.
¿Qué color? Perfecto, mijo.
Gracias. Thank you.
What's wrong, mijo?
Donating to a pet's medical care is one of the many ways you can help families in your community. Pets and people belong together. Learn more at petsandpeopletogether.org.
You quit smoking and thought, that's that. But here's the thing about lung cancer. By the time you see the symptoms, it could be too late. But now, there's a new scan that can detect lung cancer early when it's more curable. If you smoked, get scanned. Talk to your doctor or learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Welcome back. The Prince George's County Council has proclaimed the first full week of Hispanic Heritage Month to be Hispanic Restaurant Week, encouraging everyone around the county to buy at least one meal at a Hispanic-owned sit-down restaurant. This year also marks the one-year anniversary of the new Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of the county. The council honored its president and founder.
Thank you all for recognizing the hard work and dedication that our people have really worked hard to be present as the second largest Hispanic county in the state of Maryland. I'm truly honored for this, and I look forward to doing so much more work here in Prince George's County.
We do, as New Americans, bring $6.9 billion to this county in earned income. We have $5.1 billion in spending power. We paid $1.8 billion in taxes at all levels, and we generate $12 billion of Prince George's County GDP. Those numbers are just specific to Prince George's County. Okay, so 1 out of every $5 that's generated in this county is by a New American.
Hispanic Heritage Month is observed from September 15th to October 15th.
Well, a former Prince George's Schools chief has earned a new position. Monica Goldson worked for PGCTV for 15 years before serving as CEO from 2018 to 2023. She's now been named the CEO of Junior Achievement of Greater Washington. Junior Achievement provides financial literacy, work readiness, and entrepreneurship training to students in grades K through 12. Goldson will be the first Black woman to lead the nonprofit since it launched nearly 60 years ago. Meanwhile, Maryland's 6 casinos raked in over $159 million in September of 2024, marking a 2.8% increase from last year. According to Maryland Lottery and Gaming, casino contributions to the state reached nearly $68.7 million, up 3.4%, with $49.5 million going directly to the Education Trust Fund, a boost of 3.5%. Now, these gaming revenues also support local communities, Maryland's horse racing industry, and small minority and women-owned businesses.
The Prince George's-based education tech company 2U that filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy earlier this year has moved its headquarters to Virginia. Last month, the company moved from their offices near the New Carrollton station in Lanham to Crystal City, Virginia. A spokesperson for 2U says the company no longer has a presence in Maryland. 7 years ago, the company received more than $3 million in loans from the Maryland Department of Commerce and from Prince George's County.
And attention Amazon shoppers, the retailer's popular Prime Day has returned today, but with the fall twist. For today and tomorrow, Prime members can access early holiday savings on top brands, seasonal products, popular toys, and more. Members can also expect new deals to drop as often as every 5 minutes during select periods during the 2-day event. Amazon's Prime Day occurs twice a year in July and October. Now, guys, I normally don't participate in Prime Day, but what about you all?
I'm definitely participating. I
Yeah.
can say
You
that.
are?
Yeah,
For those deals,
sure.
right?
Yeah, I might get some things crossed off my holiday gift list.
Yeah.
Just get in there early.
Absolutely.
Right? Absolutely. Well, we now have Simon Buggs, who's back with our Tuesday sports page.
Well, guys, today I have some interesting news from the world of college football, the NFL, and field hockey. Stay right there, sports fans. Back in a moment.
If I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. If we could find a way to get inside each other's minds. If you could see you through my eyes instead of your ego, I believe you'd be surprised to see that you've been blind. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Yeah, before you abuse, criticize and accuse. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Well, before you abuse, criticize and accuse. Walk a mile in my shoes.
Jason, let's go see your room.
How was it? Is it good?
How do you know when you've made the right decision? It's the feeling you get in your gut, the one that tells you what's right or wrong. It's the one that says, sure, I can have a drink, or the feeling that says, okay, I've been drinking, now what? It's the voice inside you that says, I'm buzzed, better leave the car when it's time to go. Plan ahead, catch a sober ride. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
All right, what's happening, sports fans? It's time for your Tuesday sports page. Now, UMD quarterback Billy Edwards has been dotting up defenses to start the season. So much so that the Virginia native was named to the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Top 25 list. This award is given out annually to the best senior or upperclassman QB. Through 5 games, Edwards is ranked top 15 among all FBS quarterbacks in completion percentage with 72% and passing yards per game with almost 300. Edwards also has 11 passing TDs, which is ranked 4th in the Big Ten, and has thrown multiple touchdowns in every game this season. The winner of the award will be announced on December 6th. And sticking with Terps football news, the team is fresh off of a bye week. During a team's bye week, teams try to make as many improvements as they can for the next part of the season. Edwards spoke earlier today about what he and the team worked on during their time off to be an even better version of themselves.
Yeah, I would say for me individually, just the consistency. Looking through the first 5 games, there were times where, I think I didn't trust my feet. My base got, a little bit wide, which caused me to miss on some throws or not make it, as accurate as I could to give, KP a run ball where he can catch and run and make people miss after the catch. And then just overall as a team, just addressing the things that we can control, right? When we talk in a team meeting, the three areas where we can control that we can't control. If we can manage and win, then we will put ourselves in a very, very good spot to win the game in the turnover battle, the explosive play battle, and the penalties. And I think we, as a team on all three phases of the ball, we address those, and we've put a big emphasis on them the last 2 weeks.
Edwards and the rest of the Terps will return to action on Friday night against their Big Ten rival, Northwestern. Should be a fun one. Another UMD athlete made headlines as field hockey player Ella Guyton won the Big Ten Freshman of the Week. This past Sunday, Guyton had a great game against Iowa as she had her first multi-goal game. She scored her second and third career goals in the matchup against the Lady Hawkeyes. This is the second time Guyton has been named the Big Ten Freshman of the Week. The New Jersey product and the rest of the Lady Terps will take the field next against Michigan on the road on Friday as well. Meantime, the Washington Commanders are red hot as the team has won 4 straight games, making them 4-1 and in first place in the NFC East. Now, this team feels different than in years past, and head coach Dan Quinn talked about what makes this group of players so special.
This is a hard group. They're really tough, Donna, and I love the competitive way that they go after it because I see it in practice and then that carries over into the game. And then the other part I would say is I feel their connection to an extension of one another. And I feel that on the sideline from an offense to a defense to a special teams to back, that complementary football happens right away. When, there's a turnover, the defense gets a stop, the offense goes to score, the kickoff team goes and covers, all of that happens immediately. And so there's an urgency about them, but I would say there's a hardness about them that I'm really starting to admire.
Washington will match up next against the Baltimore Ravens in a Battle of the Beltway on Sunday. And that wraps up your Tuesday sports page.
So you got to be happy about these Commanders wins, just one after another.
Absolutely.
What do you like on Sunday?
Well, guys, obviously the offense played well, but I want to touch on the team's defense. They played very well this past weekend against the Browns. They generated a lot of pressure on Browns QB Deshaun Watson. They had 7 sacks, and one player I want to highlight is Commanders linebacker Frankie Louvu. He had 2.5 sacks, 7 tackles. He's definitely in contention for NFC Defensive Player of the Week. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do against that Baltimore offense on Sunday, guys. I'm really looking forward to it.
It's going to be an exciting game. You're going to watch, Michaela?
Absolutely.
Sure. Now let's get a look at our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight we'll have some clear skies. Tomorrow it's going to be nice and sunny with a high of 71.
Thursday, temperatures will drop to 65 degrees, but it will still be mostly sunny. Friday, we'll have a high of 68 and low of 50, kicking off the weekend.
Now let's get a look at our community calendar. This Friday, Sister Act will be at the Bowie Playhouse.
When disco diva Dolores witnesses a murder, she's put in protective custody in the one place the cops are sure she won't be found, a convent. The show starts at 8 p.m., but for tickets or more information, make sure you contact that number right there on your screen, 301-262-6200.
All right, that wraps up CTV News for now. Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you again tomorrow. Have a good night.
Good night, everybody.